Let's be real. We all know what it feels like to want to change our habits and we want to start a whole new plan, a new diet, a new lifestyle, a new routine, because now we've got this fresh, strong boost of motivation, right? Just to find out that we've stopped a few days later, leaving us disappointed. After we've done this a couple of times, we feel like we're the problem, we're a failure, we're just not able to be that girl. There's something inherently wrong with us. Let me tell you, a few years ago, I started reading a bunch of books, watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and listened to a whole lot of podcasts. And I want to be honest, I did see a lot of results. I learned how to stick to routine, how to really accomplish change. And by going through that process, I feel I've learned a lot on how to actually set goals and how to reach them in a sustainable and non-draining way. If I were to go back to my journal a few years ago, I had all of these goals and desires, and almost all of them came true. I feel like I've gotten the hang of it. So here I'll be sharing the 5 steps I'm taking to leveling up and to reaching my goals by the end of this year. I really want to make the most of 2022. I'm going to be sharing the exact plan, step by step, that I'm going to be using. There's a considerable difference between goal setting and vision boarding. When we set goals and we plan on achieving them, the whole focus is on the result. We want to plan a roadmap on how to get to our result, but the focus really is on achieving them. Vision boarding is really more about visually representing our dreams and desires and bringing them to physical form. The idea is to have it physically in front of us so that we can bring it to life. As a visual tool, this really helps create that internal motivation, right? Motivation is a really strong emotion. I mean, just think about how many times you feel super motivated and it's made you want to actually change some of the things that you were thinking about. Motivation, like any other emotion though, doesn't last. So we really can't count on motivation to pull us through when it gets hard. By having a vision board, we can always remind ourselves of why we started in the first place. So when you feel like you don't want to go to the gym, or you don't want to cook that healthier meal, your vision board can serve as a way to remind yourself, hey, this is why I want to do this. And let's be real, doubt, failure, setbacks, they're bound to happen. They're part of the process. And when we begin to work with them instead of against them, we can use tools like vision boarding to plan ahead, anticipate that it will happen. And when it happens, this is how I'm going to get myself out of it and keep pushing forward. Because when we think about why we've always stopped pursuing our goals, it's because we hit some sort of a road bump, right? We were tired after work, we didn't feel like doing it, our calendar was super busy. I also like to think of the law of vibration when I think about vision boarding. Now, I know most of us have by now heard of the law of attraction.
For the first time, I'm starting to imagine a life.
I think the law of vibration is actually more important when pursuing or trying to reach our goals. And let me explain why. Vibration is the primary law of the laws that govern the universe. And there's 12 altogether, right? And I'm not going to go into them because that would be a YouTube video by itself. But the law of vibration dictates that everything, and I mean everything, is energy. And this makes me think of a quote that I've read on Instagram a long time ago, which is, everything is energy and energy is everything. And so now that we know that everything is energy, energy vibrates at a certain frequency. We're just a huge lump of molecules of energy vibrating at a certain frequency. The frequency that we're vibing at has a lot to do with our emotional state, so basically how we're feeling and how we go about feeling. And so if we want to attract our desires, our goals, we first have to become them before they take on actual physical form. So we have to be our goals before we actually have reached our goals. I know this sounds confusing, but so the question is, how do we become our desire without actually having our desires? The key to this is we need to feel and embody how we would feel and be like if we already reached our goals. And this is counterintuitive, but it actually makes a lot of sense. If your goal is, let's say, at this vibration and you're usually here, the way there, the attraction, the frequency, they won't harmonize. So you need to be here in order to make it easier for it to come to you. So the easiest way to get on the frequency of our desires is by feeling, so through emotions. And if we think about it, emotion emotion. Emotions are meant to move us, and we can move with them to any frequency that we want to. Because at the end of the day, we are the source of our emotions. And different emotions vibrate at different frequencies. You can use the vibrational scale of consciousness to break down how, like, on what frequency every emotion sort of vibes at. And so the emotions we want to be feeling when we think about attracting our desires and goals are feelings like love, connection, joy, happiness, gratitude, empathy, excitement, right? All of those emotions that make you feel like your goals are actually within reach and are actually attainable. So these feelings make you feel like I can see myself, living like this. My goal is actually for me and I can see myself getting it. And so by having a powerful and meaningful vision board, we have something in front of us that we can use to spark those emotions whenever we want. And we can use it as an example. I'm guessing that if your goal was to have a really nice, snazzy car, you wouldn't just want to have the car and have it sit outside your garage all day. What you envision having your dream car is you want to be able to maintain it. You don't want to be struggling about insurance prices going up, and you probably want to be able to afford fuel costs like it's no biggie. And I'm also guessing you want to be enjoying your car. So when we think about how you would feel about how you would be and feel in that scenario, think about yourself in a car and you're driving around the French Riviera. You probably feel free and excited. You feel maybe at peace. You feel the summer breeze hitting your face and the sunshine is just perfect. It's not too warm, it's not too cold, and you're enjoying the music that's playing. You have a free road ahead of you, and all of this makes you feel completely unburdened. It makes you feel happy and content, and that's what you want to be feeling like, right? So when we're chasing our dreams, we're actually chasing how we would like to feel like when we have those dreams. If we want to reach our goals, we have to tap into that emotional state, and a vision board is really, really powerful, and I've been using it for a couple of years now. You can do it however you want. You don't have to be using a Notion template. You can do a vision board any way you want. Step 2 is all about the how, and this is where I'm going to be sharing with you my exact 12-week planner that I am going to be using to set my goals, plan how I'm going to reach my goals. I'm using Notion for this. Obviously, you can do this any way you like. The goal of this plan is to have something tangible. I personally love this plan. I think it's super easy to use and it gets straight to the point, and it makes it really easy for me to keep track of everything. I'm going to go ahead and open the Notion app on my iPad. You can have Notion on laptop and mobile phone as well. That's why I quite like it. As I said, I've added a free template down below in the description. Go check it out. So basically, the first thing you see when you open this planner is goals, and I've categorized them according to health, mental well-being, and personal brand. I like to think of my goals as a system that is interconnected, and that means all three parts have to be cared for. And I'm not going to go into every specific one of my goals, but for example, for health, my goals are to get leaner, stronger, and to have consistent energy throughout the day. So to not have a burst of energy and then be drained, and that cycle repeats itself. And then I also want to have a consistent intake of high quality plant-based nutrients. So these are my health goals. And then in terms of mental well-being, these are just some goals in terms of my intentions. So for my mental well-being, I want to feel connected, grounded, and more peaceful. For example, I've noticed that in the last few weeks, because everything has been a lot more hectic, I felt more stressed and unfocused, and I want to change that. I also want to invite stress as a friend, and I want to feel confident in myself. And with this, I mean, I want to feel more confident in my ability to pursue my goals. I think a lot of the time what happens is when something like a setback happens, I tend to feel demotivated and I question my goals as a general. And when I say I want to feel more confident, that means I want to feel more like, even when things don't go the way I had intended to, that I can confidently master them. Then we go down to how to reach my goals. So this is where we detail and outline the how. And I can show you if I just press on, for example, health, then we've got this little wee section where I once again have my goals laid out and the detailed how. So for example, I've got the body and nutrition, which are both of the factors that work into my physical health. And for that, for example, I'm going to be walking 70k steps a week, gym 4 times, yoga, and trying to do a monthly hike. And for nutrition, I'm going to be trying to do Sunday meal planning, some meal prepping. I'm going to try and make my own sweeties instead of buying them. And I'm going to try and be very consistent with my supplements, and that even though I might be able to do them, they're still part of the plan. And then if I go back, the desired results section, this is more how do I want the result to actually look like. And so, for example, with my personal goal, I'm obviously working on getting better at filming content. And so one of my goals is to have a very smooth and enjoyable YouTube filming, planning, and uploading process that allows consistency. So my goal isn't just to reach a numerical statistic, but it's also that my skills and abilities to perform this task get better and smoother. And so in terms of my other desired result for the health area, yes, I want to get leaner, but I also want to enjoy working out. And I want to have fun moving my body. I don't just want it to be a task. And then we've got the track your progress section, which is divided into 3 months. And there are details what I'm going to try and do on a daily/weekly basis. And so if I know, okay, Tuesday and Friday, I've done my steps, I can tick it off, and I can come back to this tracker on a daily basis. So this gives me a really good overview, and it gives me a feeling of I haven't forgotten this. It's a small reminder and I can do it. In the bottom, there's the percentage. So obviously once you've checked everything, it'll add up to 100%. And then we come to the next section, which is basically you re-outline your priorities, and you have week 1, 2, 3, 4, where you can list your weekly priorities, because daily priorities sometimes look different than weekly. For example, if my weekly goal is to upload 1 YouTube video a week, that means I can't just expect myself to complete it on 1 day. So for example, my weekly goal will be to upload 1 YouTube video, but my daily goals will be like, today I edit, tomorrow I film, you know. And then we've got my little favorite section, which is my whys. And now we've got the whys, which is the why do I want to invest in my health, write a bunch of stuff, and you can in a detailed way outline why you do something. And then we've got the self-reflection area, where you basically can write in your thoughts. You can reflect, where I can reflect what I think my weaknesses are and where I can work on them. So that's my 12-week planner. You can use it too, of course. There's a link down in the description below. It's for free. Feel free to use it, and let me know in the comments if you like it. Step number 3 is having a strong why. Ensuring that I reach my goals is having a stronger why than just wanting the result. I've read a bunch of books on habits and productivity, and they all circle back to the similar theme that if we don't have a strong purpose or reasoning behind our goals, we're far less likely to achieve them, and we're a lot more likely to stop whenever it gets inconvenient. And so we want to feel like there's a purpose and a joy behind trying to reach our goals, because unless you have very career focused goals that you can attain while in the company that you're working with, you're probably doing this after work, in between shifts, whenever you have time, and whether you've got kids or you're alone, it's just a lot. Right? So if we have a weak why, it makes it a lot harder. This applies to me too. I've started countless diets and plans over the years. What I've realized is that my whys were really weak, What I've noticed is that my whys were usually based on the end result. So I never considered the way there. I always just wanted to attain the end result. And a good example of this is a few years ago, one of my goals was to get skinny. So my reason for eating better was to get skinny. That meant that I was completely focused on the result and didn't really have a strong why for why I wanted to get to this result, why I wanted to be skinny. And looking back at it, I wanted to be skinny because that's all I saw on Instagram and YouTube. It was the golden standard at the time when I would say 18, 19, going into Instagram. It was, I'm 25 now, so you can do the math. Instagram was different back then. So my reasons were really weak and my why wasn't strong. My why for eating better is because I want to eat nutritionally rich foods to support my body through all of its daily activities, movement, tasks. So I've taken my why and I've made it a lot stronger. So now I'm a lot more inclined to eat healthy because there's a really good reason for why I want to eat healthy. Step number 4, know your weaknesses and build systems to strengthen them. Another step I'm taking into account when trying to reach my goals is my humanity. I'm not a robot. There are going to be moments when I'm not on top of my things, or there's more to-dos and tasks than I anticipated, things don't go according to plan, and I'm drained. And usually that makes me less likely, it makes it less likely for me to get up and actually go to the gym. And on top of that, winter is coming.
Winter is coming. Winter is coming.
It's now autumn and it's just bound to get colder. Winter means colder days, longer nights, and that just makes me want to snuggle up and watch TV all day. The important thing here is I've learned a lot about my weaknesses, and I've put some time into figuring out what my triggers are, what makes me tired. For example, I know that the first 30 minutes after I wake up, I shouldn't be on my phone. I shouldn't be on any electronic device, to be honest. I need to be doing other stuff. That's why I would consider my morning routine a bit of me time before I go into all of my tasks and to-dos. And that can look different every day, but usually that means I'll, clean the kitchen a little bit. I will read, I will journal, I will go on my balcony and just get in some fresh air. Some days I go and I walk. So it was important for me because I know that if I go on my phone straight after I wake up and I'm scrolling through social media, I'm looking at my calendar, I've read some of my emails already, I will be completely drained within 2 to 3 hours afterwards. And by lunchtime, I'll already be tired. And I don't know what it is about having a morning routine for me, I drain so fast. And I also, for example, know I need to have a really good breakfast in the morning, because by having a good breakfast, I have very stable energy, which means I will be more likely to do all of the tasks, projects, things I've told myself I would do. I know my weakness, I know what happens if I do this and how that could derail my day. I can build systems that help me and support me. It just made me think about the quote from Socrates, which is, "Thyself is the beginning of wisdom," and I really believe that. I think the better we know ourselves, the more likely we can support ourselves through all of that which goal setting and goal getting means. Step 5, which is my personal favorite, is be kind to yourself. I feel like this is one of the most important parts, because I think a lot of the time we forget to be gentle and kind to ourselves. And when we mess up, we've got a setback, or we completely stop, we tend to be extremely harsh with ourselves. We either make excuses like, "I don't have time," and we abandon our dreams, or we're very self-critical. And if you're like me and you feel like you are going to start being self-critical, this is what I do. I imagine that I'm talking to a young me, like let's say an 8-year-old, 10-year-old me, and she's messed up, right? She's not done something that she said she was going to do. And I wouldn't yell at a child, I wouldn't be critical to a child, I wouldn't make her feel bad for not doing something, for failing. In fact, if I was to talk to a child, or if I was to talk to a young version of myself, I would say kind words, I would reaffirm it, because anyone who has ever had experience with children knows that if you yell and criticize a child, it is a lot less likely to do what you ask them to do. And the same is with us. I think that if we're mean and critical to ourselves, I don't think we're any more inclined to successfully and confidently try and chase our dreams and work towards them. Notice that you're being harsh to yourself. Imagine that you're speaking to a younger version of yourself and you're trying to, in a very kind and gentle way, understand how they feel about the setback or the failure, but simultaneously try and lift them up and make them understand that setbacks are a normal part of the process and that this is a feeling that will pass, and gently guide them and tell them it's going to be okay. In a couple of minutes, hours, you're going to feel better, and then we can get back to it, or we can get back to it tomorrow. So I think kindness goes a long way, especially with ourselves. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. You can take some things away from it. Make sure to check out the Notion template in the description below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.